I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? Open up a world of possibilities when you sell your home and make those dreams real. At ColdwellBanker.com, you can get an instant estimate on your home, compare cost of living city by city, and learn more about our revolutionary seller's assurance program. So it really is true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams. At ColdwellBanker.com.
Way swung on a fly ball.
Wenatchee Apple Sox baseball is back on the NCW Life channel. Join us Friday, July 28th as the Apple Sox host the Edmonton Riverhawks. Coverage is brought to you by Apple Valley Honda, Confluence Health, JDSA Law, Mary Maids, Mini Blinds and more. Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista, Together for Youth, Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center, and Walkabout Grill. Your
Happy Thursday, television family. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life channel with this award-winning program, Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is the 27th day of July, 2023. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Got a jam-packed show for you today. This scenario happens occasionally. We got 5 pounds worth of show and a 4-pound bag to put it in. We're going to do our best to cram it all in. A lot of information to pass your way. Not a bad-looking weather forecast. Still a couple of more comfortable days before the heat arrives. It's going to be a little windy for the next couple of days. There's a low-pressure system that's going to kind of seep through the Cascade Gaps here and again, going to give us a little breeze. Nothing we can't handle, of course. So forecast details always take precedence around here. Everybody wants to know what the weather is. The weather is the one thing that affects everybody. That's why we do it. Well, the forecast anyway. We're not in charge of the weather. If we were, we would let you know about that. News. Yep. In sports, Mariners win, so they win the series against the Twins. They got to start putting together some W's if they want to make the playoffs again this year. Apple Sox are looking really good. Last night, not so much. They had a really bad 8th inning, and their long home winning streak came to an end. We'll talk about the Bellingham Bells and the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Seahawks back to work at the VMAC in Renton. We'll hear from Coach Pete, the internally optimistic and energetic Coach Pete. It is Thursday. Pause for Pets will be coming your way. A dog named Mia needs a permanent home, and we'll introduce you to Mia with our friends at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. And we had a chance to talk to my good buddy Matt Wisen, and I got to meet Glenn Kalis, and they both work for the Washington State Department of Transportation, but they're not out there making roads. They are biologists, and they are the topic of conversation with Matt and Glenn about collisions between automobiles and wildlife on our area highways. It's a great conversation. The DOT is very, very proactive in all this, and you're going to learn a lot about how they try to keep these things to an absolute minimum with Matt and Glenn. That's in the back half of the program. Can't wait for you to watch that. You're going to learn a lot. I know I did. Let's not waste any time. We got a lot to do. And on mornings like today, we got all kinds of different options for the cameras, but we'll begin, of course, as we always do, with our camera at the tip of Wenatchee Heights. Sunrise this morning, 1 minute later than yesterday, 5:33. Sunset tonight, 1 minute earlier than yesterday, 8:41. That's 15 hours and 8 minutes of daylight. By the time we get back together again on Monday, we'll be under that 15-hour mark as the days are gradually getting shorter. Camera 2 is going to take us up to Greens Knob and Lake Chelan. That's quite a ways up Lake Chelan. That camera, I believe, is pointing to the northwest, up towards Tehican and Holden Village. We have other Sky-Fi towers that are farther up the lake than the Greens Knob Tower, but that happens to be the one that has a camera on it. And then you can see a few high clouds up at Lake Chelan. That's the part of the lake where it's pretty calm, as opposed to being at the bottom of the lake near the town of Chelan, where it gets pretty choppy, especially on weekends with all the boats and the watercraft out there. Leavenworth says good morning, and we say good morning to Leavenworth. The Bavarian Village says hello. You can see a little bit of the river there. Just a little sliver of the fish hatchery. Gorgeous view there. That's from our Tumwater Canyon camera, looking back towards Wenatchee from Leavenworth and Stamen Flats. There is the Columbia River. It is looking mighty fine. Most of Douglas County gets the honors there. Stamen, that's the highway right down there, 97A, and the railroad tracks. Stamen Flats, of course, named after the legendary billiard player, Minnesota Flats. I downloaded this from the Climate Prediction Center to give you an idea of what we're looking at as we say goodbye to July and welcome August. They posted this yesterday. This is the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, and as you can see, right above the Pacific Northwest, we have a better than 50-50 chance. We have about a 70% chance of seeing below normal temperatures. Now, the last 3-4 days, temperature's actually been below normal, but we've talked about this. That big dome of high pressure that's been around the Four Corners area is going to get sucked up by a southwest flow pattern. It's going to move it right in to our area. It's coming, folks. It'll be here by the weekend, but looks like it's going to stick around a little bit. As far as precipitation, as we get into the first week in August, there's a slightly better than 50-50 chance of precipitation. And you think, well, wait a minute. Does that mean we're going to get some much needed rain? Probably not. They're kind of hedging their bets a little bit. If we get any kind of precipitation over this forecast period, it would be thunderstorms, and that we don't want at all. So it looks like it's going to be hot and dry for the foreseeable future from the National Weather Service. Sunshine today, a little on the windy side at times. Not bad. Right around 88 degrees. Our normal high is about 90, so we'll be just close to that. 62 for the overnight low. Slightly warmer and a little bit windier on Friday as the low pressure system begins to move up into Canada, and we're going to clip the edge of that, which is going to make things a little breezy on Friday. Saturday, the wind will be gone, and the big dome of high pressure will start working its way up, and it will be parked right over our area starting on Monday, and we start heating up, folks. From 91 to 95 to 97, no rain at all in the forecast, and by golly, we need it. Possibility of a red flag warning, I think, is in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if they issued one. The conditions are ripe for it. 6 minutes after the hour, 2-minute break. The news is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Ibis Public Market is on the move to make parking, dining, shopping, and events an even better experience for our community. Check out the progress that has already been made towards the revitalization. The West Side project is well on its way, but we need your help to get over the finish line. All donations are greatly appreciated and can be made online at our website or in person at the business office. We want to thank those who have already partnered with us. You are helping make the place we love a better place for our community to meet.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
The 2023 Grant County Fair is happening August 15th through the 19th at the Grant County Fairgrounds in Moses Lake. Hundreds of animal exhibits, a huge carnival, and more than 25 food vendors. And fantastic music with Michael Ray, August 17th, with special guest the Olsen Brothers Band. August 18th is Ned Ledoux with special guest Jeremy McComb. And on August 19th, Grammy nominee Lupito Infante. It's Grant County's annual party. For more information, go to gcfairgrounds.com.
Like most backseat drivers, I'm all about safety. Uh-oh! Les Schwab Tires is too. Because Les Schwab fixes brakes, steering, and more. See those guys? They just do tires. Eyes ahead, Dad! Look, I'm not telling people how to do their job. Blinker, I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first. Watch, they're gonna come greet me.
Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
High clouds, 63 degrees, certainly into the 80s, close to 90 today, close to 90 tomorrow, into the 90s by the weekend, and then real hot for almost all of next week. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Chelan County Mountain Rescue made another backcountry rescue over the weekend, specifically on Sunday. That's when a climber accidentally went off her route while descending Dragon Tail Peak. That's in the Enchantment Lakes Wilderness area, southwest of Leavenworth. 2 climbers with the all-volunteer rescue team were delivered to the peak by the Chelan County Sheriff's helicopter. They rappelled down to the lost climber's location, helped guide her out to safety. As the night fell, the team says nobody thank goodness, was injured. Chelan County's major route between Leavenworth and Plain is going to see some major construction coming up. It's going to start on August 7th. I was on the stretch of highway last week. It needs it. Jumpstick Highway between mileposts 5 and 7. It's about halfway between Plain and Leavenworth. Will undergo grinding and resurfacing. They're going to replace pavement that's been worn down by freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing. The County Public Works Department will also retrofit some bridge railings and make other safety improvements along the way. Smith Excavation is the lead contractor. $1.5 million contract from the county was awarded earlier this month. Drivers in the area, you're going to have to plan on delays, big delays, up to 20 minutes once the project starts. And again, that starts on August 7th. The work's going to last about a month. A Chelan resident's going to have to serve 90 days in jail for burglarizing a shop building at Chelan Fruit. 25-year-old Alan Larumbi was sentenced Monday in Chelan County Superior Court. He pled guilty to 2 counts of second-degree burglary, 1 count each of first-degree theft and possession of stolen property. Larumbi admitted stealing an estimated $6,900 worth of tools and assorted items from Chelan Fruit back in November of 2021. A co-defendant in the case, 23-year-old Santiago Alexis Jimenez, faces similar charges. Authorities say a plea agreement is likely in that case as well. The Wenatchee Valley will have 2 opportunities to interact with local law enforcement. It's National Night Out. It's next Tuesday. It's always the first Tuesday in August. Of course, the idea is to foster better relationships between law enforcement and the communities that they serve. There are going to be 2 events next Tuesday, one at the Eastmont Community Park in East Wenatchee. The other one will be at Cafe's Mission Street location here in Wenatchee. Both locations will have fun for the whole family, face painting, games, treats. Both events will be held next Tuesday, August 1st, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Commissioner of Natural Resources in our state, Hillary Franz, and her team says drought, wind, and the peak of summer point to continuing wildfire dangers. However, in a briefing Tuesday with the Washington media, both Franz and her DNR meteorologist, Matthew Dare, says there are reasons for some optimism, including lower recent temperatures and improved collaboration between firefighting agencies.
We're really entering the peak of fire season now in Washington in the last week of July. That's pretty typical for a fire season in Washington, but it's pretty noticeable this year. Both the national and the Northwest regional preparedness levels have increased to a 3 out of 5 just within the last week. And we've seen several new large fires in Oregon and Washington over the past 7 days. In Washington, the Newell Road fire, which the commissioner will speak on shortly, has grown to over 50,000 acres, and no fire in 2022 reached 50,000 acres. So it's really a testament to the drought conditions that we're experiencing, as well as the fire danger that we have across the state. Now, in the medium and long-term outlook, there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is that the wetting rains from yesterday across western Washington have really tamped down significant fire concerns for areas west of the Cascades for the next 7 to 10 days. East of the Cascades was not so lucky, really did not see much precipitation, though temperatures are 5 to 10 degrees cooler today and really for the rest of the week than we saw last week. Yeah, I don't think anyone in Washington is going to experience 95-degree temperatures for the next couple of days, and that's certainly welcome. However, in the long term, with the rains missing eastern Washington, the fuels remaining very dry, and long-term models indicating that we are going to go back under a very strong ridge by the first week in August. I do think that we're going to continue to see large fires crop up across the landscape, at least with more significant fire danger. So some positives so far from this year have been a real lack of lightning-caused fires. We have not had very much lightning this year to date. However, lightning typically does peak in early August in Washington. The DNR crews out on fires have been doing an amazing job, as well as the stewardship of the public in reducing the human-caused ignition. So while we do have very high fire danger indices, I do think that we're on a good track right now. So fire danger is going to continue to increase as we reach the peak of the fire season over the next couple of weeks. And fire weather will continue to play a threat, but things are going pretty well right now.
We must continue to stress the fact is that a majority of our fires, still well over 80-85%, are caused by humans. And as we are going into probably the most challenging parts of the fire season in the coming months, we're urging people to do their part, be one less spark out there. Our firefighters are going to get tired as this season goes on, and we need everyone to make sure they're keeping themselves safe, their neighborhood safe, their community safe, and also our firefighters.
And finally, on this Thursday, a viral video of East Wenatchee Police Officer Ivy Jacobson has gained millions of views after it highlighted a very special moment at her recent wedding. Of course, Jacobson doubles up as the school resource officer for the Eastmont School District. Appeared in a video that was created by Cara Creative Events, and it begins with a little bit about Ivy Jacobson's life story. Here is that video. When she was 16 years old, our bride played a pivotal role in ensuring her abusive father was put in prison. It continues by showing the 15 different men who walked her down the aisle. They range from family, childhood coaches, and most notably the police officer who arrested her father. They all walked her down the aisle. Then the men, who were all dressed in matching white shirts and khaki pants, said a collective "we do" when asked who was giving away the bride. The TikTok video has amassed 12.5 million views since it was posted 5 days ago. That's impressive. Cool. Congratulations to Ivy. I'll be happy if I get 12 viewers. That's a good day for me. And that's the news at 1:15. We'll be right back at it with another newscast. We think it's important that our viewers be informed about the events in North Central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley. So the news being hosted once again with Jefferson Robbins this week in the anchor chair, our news director. 5, 6, and 10 on television. 5, 6, and 10 available for you to watch on our YouTube page, on our homepage, and on our Facebook page at 5 o'clock each night as well. And if there's something out there that you think we need to hear about it, send us an email. It's the best way to go about doing it. news@ncwlife.com. Mariners win. Apple Sox played. And the Seahawks are sweating again. Sports in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
The Clearwater Saloon and Casino has the best Vegas-style games in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy yourself and discover the nightly action. Win big and meet new friends at the Clearwater Saloon and Casino.
Hi everybody, Dan Kuntz alongside Jesse Coble from Alpine Air. There's ice on my heat pump and under my heat pump.
Well, ice under your heat pump is normal. When we go into a defrost cycle, it melts the frost off, creates water, which freezes to the ground. Ice around your heat pump is a thing that you should probably give us a call about.
Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks.
At D.A. Davidson in Wenatchee, they believe your investment success begins with a personalized plan. A plan that is the roadmap you need to navigate your way to living your best years in retirement. D.A. Davidson can help you create a plan so you can take the time to enjoy the finer things in life. Let the financial advisors at D.A. Davidson help chart your retirement future today.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
18 minutes after the hour, the Twins and the Mariners combined for 7 home runs yesterday at Target Field, but the Mariners outlasted the Twins 8-7. Dylan Moore, 2 homers. Julio Rodriguez added another. Seattle builds an early lead and then hangs on for the victory.
Suarez. Teo coming on. A good read by Julio. He was 3/4 of the way to third. He knew that was not going to be caught by Willie Castro. Well done. Good job by Tasker Hernandez. 1-0 Mariners. 2-2 to Demo. Hit it hard. Going back, and it is gone. How about Dylan Moore? A line drive home run, and the Mariners have a 2-0 lead. That is crushed. Julio Rodriguez. Wow. That is his third home run in the last 5 days. Mariners have a 3-0 lead.
To left field and deep. Marlowe going back. Vasquez with a home run to left. Julian drives it to left field. Marlowe going back. That's gone. Julian has now hit 10 big league home runs. 5 to right field and 5 to left field.
Mariners is a team that hit 2 this year. There you go, base hit. Right field. Murphy will score. And a stop sign put up for Cade Marlowe. Nicely done. Colton Wong coming through again. 4-2 Mariners here in the fourth.
Driven to right. Another solo home run for the Twins, and they get the run back immediately.
Dillon rides one deep left center field. Looking to carry on this one. Giddy up, baby. Gone! Demo with a 3-run homer. 7-3 Mariners. Gino drives one to the gap. Hit hard. Going back, it's off the fence. Julio's going to walk home. Gino will settle with a long single. That ball gets away. The Mariners pick up another run.
This one hit well left center field. A lot of carry into the second deck. An opposite field home run for Walden. Into right center, up base hit. Larnach around second, he'll score. Farmer comes through, and the Twins are back in the game at 8-5. High fly to right field. It's deep. And off the warning track. Farmer off with the crack of the bat will score, and Gallo delivers an RBI double. Base hit right field. Gallo around third, he will score, and Vasquez bluffs towards second after an RBI single, and it's a 1-run game.
It's a 1 from Mooney. Ground ball to Wine. This is going to do it. The Mariners win this game.
Manager Scott Service was happy to see Dylan Moore step up to the plate. You remember, he's filling in for Jared Kelnick, who's out with an injury.
Very two closely matched teams, very similar club, but obviously we had guys step up today. Dylan Moore had an unbelievable game. You know, for a guy who hasn't played very much, but he started to see it coming. His timing, his rhythm. I talked to him a few days ago. We're going to give him more opportunity, get him more starts, and it was huge today. Obviously, 2 home runs, another RBI single. Julio is starting to put that stretch together we've all been waiting for this year. And when he does, it's special. Like, he changes the game. Swinging the bat, running the bases, you know, the hustle double there, getting us the extra run. At the time, you think we're okay, and we needed every run we had today. So, you know, Miller, I thought he actually threw the ball pretty good. You know, the solo homers got him. He ran out of gas a little bit at the end when we were trying to stretch him, just because our bullpen has been used as you go through this 13-game stretch and all the close games that we played over the last 6 or 7 days. But, you know, did his job. The guys out of the pen were outstanding today. Gave Spire back-to-back outings. Was awesome. Tope has been really good. And Mooney flipped the script what happened here the other night. So, nice series win. We need an off day. Our bullpen needs to reset. Our ball club guys are dragging a little bit with the heat out here today, but heck of an effort. You got to dig down on days like today and find a way.
They do need an off day. They have one. No Mariner baseball today. They'll be in Arizona tomorrow for a 3-game weekend series. 6:40 first pitch Friday on Root Sports Northwest. To the American League West scoreboard from our friends at Les Schwab. Texas pounded out 13 runs on 17 hits. Home runs by Nathaniel Lowe, Marcus Seaman, Sam Huff, Adolis Garcia. They beat Houston 13-5. J.D. Davis and Austin Slater each homered. The Giants beat Oakland, but everybody does. The final there was 8-3. L.A. and Detroit rained out. They'll try to make it up today in a doubleheader in beautiful Detroit. Seahawks begin training camp yesterday in Renton. Lots of fanfare, an unexpected playoff run, of course, last year with that 9-8 record. They lost to San Francisco in the first round of the playoffs. 71-year-old Pete Carroll had his typical youthful enthusiasm. It was in high gear. He met with reporters after the first practice.
First day. That was so much fun today to see these guys out there. such a build-up, in anticipation of getting back, and the anticipation runs all the way through the offseason, and then we take the big break, and to see these guys come out and move like they did today, they worked really hard to get here, and I'm really fired up about that because we don't want that to be an issue. It isn't. We have a few guys that you can ask questions about that are PUP, but all of those are very measured, and we think we have the beat on what's going on every one of our guys, and with really positive approach to it. We think everybody's going to get back and get right. But being out here on the first day of football and with this bunch of guys that we're so excited about, I really feel blessed to be part of it.
Jamal Adams and Jordan Brooks were not practicing. They're on the physically unable to perform list. They had surgery in the offseason.
Both guys come in really good shape. They're really, I mean, they're close to being ready. None of us, meaning our side of it and the player side of it, we don't want to push it until we get more information here, take our time, judge our way through this thing and make sure we really take care of them. So that's what we're doing. And so that's why we were counted on the PUP thing with those guys. But both those guys had big recoveries, and they both had to work really hard to get here, and they did very well in their physicals and in their testing. And so they're working out. They worked really hard today. So they'll be working hard, and we'll just take it one day at a time and look after them. And in the meantime, it allows the competition for the other guys to get their work. And so in some sense, we'll capitalize on that, but for those guys, they're going to make it back.
Chenna Nwosu, our outside linebacker, signed a 3-year, $59 million contract extension. He's happy.
Yeah, it was definitely something at the end of the season. Agency, reached out to him. Hey, you guys, Chenna's coming off a pretty good year. What do you guys want to do? They said they love me here. We were able to figure something out and get something done that benefited both sides. So happy to finally got that done.
Was it important to you to get it done before the season so you didn't have to kind of worry about it once the season begins?
That's something a lot of guys think. I know there's a timeline going into it, before this continues. You see things are still going on, even into training camp. I know it can take all the way up to the first game, so it was a long process. And, thankfully I was able to get it done before, we start out here so I can just focus all on ball,
Coach Pete says he's happy to have the guy in camp. He says he's a veteran who's going to teach the new guys the system that the Seahawks have.
To get Chenna back the commitment to him is a really important statement for us because he's a perfect Seahawk. I mean, he's hard-nosed, he's tough, he's smart, he's diligent, he does everything. He's physical, he's weighing 268 coming in, he's in great shape. Got a great attitude. I'm sure. Did you guys talk to him today? Yeah, I mean, you can see him. You can see why we championed the guy, and so that's the kind of guy we want to reward, and he deserved it. And he had a fantastic season last year. We played the heck out of him last year. Played so many plays. We might be able to control that a little bit better, but we were just really excited about getting him.
Seahawks have a mock game at Lumen Field on August 4th. Their first preseason game August 10th. Against the Vikings. Apple Sox committing 3 errors in the 8th inning, and that did them in last night. Bellingham beating the Apple Sox 7-5, so the loss snaps Wenatchee's 7-game winning streak and a franchise record 12-game home winning streak. Joel Norman has the details.
It'll be a rubber match between the Apple Sox and the Bellingham Bells on Thursday night after the Bells stole a 7-5 victory against Wenatchee on Wednesday night at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. The Apple Sox 7-game winning streak overall comes to an end, as does their franchise record 12-game home victory streak in league play. They erased a 3-run deficit by scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning, including scoring 3 of those runs with 2 outs. However, Wenatchee could not overcome, giving up 4 runs on 3 hits and 3 errors to the Bells in the top of the 8th inning to suffer their first loss at home since June 27th. The Apple Sox still have a great opportunity to take the series on Thursday night as they send Sam Brown to the bump for the 6:35 p.m. game on a thirsty Thursday at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
Frankie Carney and Carson Oland once again led the offense. They had 2 hits apiece. Jaden Williamson took the loss. It wasn't his fault because of all those errors. Joel's Call on radio tonight, 6:35 on Sunny FM. And we're back at Paul Thomas Senior Baseball Field tomorrow night with Brandon Schmitten and Eric Granstrom as the Edmonton Riverhawks come to town. And we'll have that for you at 6:30 tomorrow night. Real quickly, the scoreboard from the West Coast League. Take a look at the winners and the losers. Most importantly, for us, Kamloops beats Victoria 6-3. So to the standings. Wenatchee's lead in the second half of the West Coast League's North Division remains at 2.5 games over Victoria, 3 in front of Kelowna. Nanaimo sits 5 games back, while the Bells are 5.5 behind. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 28 minutes after the hour. I could have chosen, but did not, for the obscure holiday, National Take Your Pants on a Walk Day. I don't know. National Love is Kind Day, National Creme Brulee Day, National Refreshment Day, National Chicken Finger Day. And now that I think about it, maybe I should have chosen one of those 5 because, well, I'm ambivalent about doing food-related obscure holidays, but it's National Chili Dog Day, and I went through my phase of eating chili dogs. It's about probably the unhealthiest thing you can put in your body that can legally be called food. I mean, it's chili on top of a hot dog with cheese and onions, and all the healthy parts of it are offset by nitrates, and I don't know. It looks good, but I'm no longer into the chili dog. I have my chili dog phase. I'm through with it. I still love my chili. I make that in the winter, but chili and on top of a hot dog, I don't need an angioplasty just yet, and I don't want to accelerate that process. Enjoy a chili dog if you want. I'm going to pass. It's the bottom of the hour. Today in history, happy 83rd birthday, Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny made his debut in the theatrical animated short called A Wild Hare, released to movie theaters on this date in 1940. And that's a still from that particular cartoon. I have fun facts about Bugs Bunny you might not know about. His real first name is Keith. Probably didn't know that. Bugs Bunny does not live in a hole in the ground. He actually has a palatial estate in Bel Air in Los Angeles. Bugs Bunny divorced his first wife after he discovered that she was having a romantic affair with Foghorn Leghorn. Bet you didn't know that. And Bugs Bunny once shot out a television set when Elvis appeared on it. Happy 83rd birthday to Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc? The Korean War came to an end 70 years ago today, kind of. They're still technically at war. They signed an armistice, which means we're not going to try and kill each other anymore. China signed, the United States signed, North Korea signed, the United Nations signed. Syngman Rhee of South Korea did not sign, but he said, I will agree to the terms of the armistice. He said, I will not sign anything that says there are going to be 2 Koreas. There needs to be one unified Korea. The Korean War came to an end. The numbers are sobering. One side, the United Nations, 170,927 dead, 162,000 South Koreans, 36,574 Americans, 500,000 wounded. 10% of the entire population of Korea, both North and South, died in the Korean War. As far as North Korean and Chinese forces, nobody knows because they didn't tell us. They assume about 500,000 dead and another 145,000 missing. Korean War. The truce was signed on this date 70 years ago today. Baseball had 16 teams in 1903. All those years later, in 1959, no expansion. They still had 16 teams. The teams had moved, but there had been no expansion. And they said, well, why don't we just start a 3rd league? And so they announced on this date the formation of a 3rd major league, the National League, the American League, and now the Continental League. And they were going to put a team in New York, in Toronto, in the Twin Cities, in Houston, in Denver, because they were all big metropolitan cities without Major League Baseball. So it said, well, we'll start another league. And the idea was to pressure Major League Baseball to expand, and they did. It was either that or have a 3rd league, and they didn't want that. And so now Toronto has a team, and San Diego has a team, and Dallas has a team, and Denver has a team, and the Twin Cities have a team. It worked. Continental League. They announced it. Never quite happened. Another fun note in baseball history, 35 years ago today, the record for errors by a pitcher in an inning is 3. That is the major league record for the most errors by a pitcher in one inning. Tommy John on this play committed 3 errors on one play. Jeffrey Leonard is at bat. Tommy John is pitching. Jeffrey Leonard's going to hit the ball about I don't know, 15, 20 feet. Error number 1, he bobbled it. Error number 2, he threw it wide. The ball bounces down the right field line. That guy's going to score. Dave Winfield picks it up, throws it to Tommy John, who cuts it off, and then throws it over the head of catcher Rick Cerrone for error number 3. That's right. Jeffrey Leonard hits the ball about 15 feet and scores on the play, courtesy of 3 errors on 1 play by Tommy John, which tied the Major League Baseball record for most errors by a pitcher in an inning. Luckily, it didn't really matter. The Yankees won 16-3. Anyway, that happened on this date 35 years ago today, and 21 years ago today, the worst air show disaster ever. In Western Ukraine, a Soviet fighter, a top-of-the-line Soviet fighter. Well, here's the news report.
The state-of-the-art Russian Su-27 jet fighter apparently lost power during high-speed maneuvers at the air show in the western Ukraine near the Polish border. The aircraft exploded on impact into the crowded perimeter of the main runway. Local reporters say airshow officials as well as spectators are among the dead. The impact left wreckage scattered over a wide area, with shocked spectators trying to treat the injured and carry away the dead. Airport officials say the 2 pilots ejected from the jet moments before the crash. An official inquiry has been launched into the cause of the disaster. The Su-27 is known as the Flanker and is the Russian Air Force's most sophisticated fighter. It has inbuilt fly-by-wire capabilities designed to prevent the loss of control during high-speed diving maneuvers.
77 were killed, more than 500 were injured on this date in 1991 in the Ukraine. 35 minutes after the hour, celebrity birthdays. Without question, the most successful television producer of the 1970s, Norman Lear, is 101 years old today. He didn't create All in the Family, but he brought it to America. Good Times, Sanford and Son. Then there was Maude. Norman Lear, 101 years old today. Peggy Fleming is 75 years old today. She won the only gold medal that America won at the 1968 Winter Olympics when she won the gold in women's figure skating. Peggy Fleming, 75 years old today. Alex Rodriguez is 48 years old today, 14 times an All-Star. He is the Major League record for Grand Slam home runs holder, 25 career Grand Slams, A-Rod, 48 years old today. Speaking of baseball, Max Scherzer, 39 years old. He is the youngest pitcher to defeat all 30 Major League Baseball teams. He's also the highest paid baseball player ever. He's making $43 million this year alone for the New York Mets. He is 39, and Jordan Spieth is 30 years old today. If you ever want to know how I play my game of golf, my swing is considered identical to Jordan Spieth. Going to take a break. First things first, Magnotti's got the opinion. We're going to talk to our friends at the Washington State Department of Transportation about wildlife versus car collisions. They're working on it, and they're doing a good job. But first, Mia the dog needs a home. It's Pause for Pets.
Hi, I'm Corley with Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. I'm an animal care coordinator here. And this beautiful girl is Mia. Mia is our 1.5-year-old Husky Shepherd mix, and she is just a love bug. Case in point. She came to us as an owner surrender, so thankfully we do know a little bit more about her than our usual dogs that we get here. So she was surrendered due to a landlord issue, which isn't that, uncommon. We know that she lived with children and she was very good with them, and her previous owner said that she's great with dogs, and we have found that here in our shelter as well. They also told us that the new owner might want to avoid having a cat because they have seen her get pretty excited over them. So yeah, if you have another dog, that's fantastic. If Mia is going to be your only dog, then that's wonderful too. Yeah, she just wants to hang out with you all the time. She's very lovey, and yeah, She loves her scratches and her snuggle times, and she's a bit of a Velcro dog. And she's a lot of fun too, because she is pretty young. She also knows a couple commands. She knows sit and lay down, and I think a couple others, but we have yet to investigate that. If you'd like to come down and meet Mia, we are open Thursday through Tuesday, 11 till 6, and yeah, we'd love to introduce you.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, would you like to know one of the best-kept secrets of our fair community? It's our extensive program of live theater. Of course, now, this isn't a secret for some of us, but for many others in our community, they just aren't aware of this regular schedule of high-quality live theater that's available right here in Wenatchee. The Full Circle Theater Company, relatively a new group, has put on 3 annual shows over the past 3 years. The Mission Creek Players, they've been around for years. They also do an annual live production. Music Theater of Wenatchee, the group I'm generally connected with, they do no less than 3 or 4 shows a year. Check these group out and attend a live theater performance. Trust me, you'll thank me. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Lean back and enjoy the summer savings at Boswell's. Right now, get a $100 instant rebate for every $1,000 you spend on any qualifying stressless seating. The more you spend, the more you can save instantly. So furnish an entire room with the most comfortable seating in the world and watch the savings add up. Shop Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
Welcome back to the program. Nobody likes to hit wildlife on our area highways. Certainly the wildlife don't appreciate it. They usually don't walk away from it. And your automobile will take a pretty good dent in it. And certainly the WSDOT, Washington State Department of Transportation, they don't want that to happen either. They've been proactive really over the last 12 or so years, trying to cut down on the amount of wildlife versus automobile collisions. And this is a perfect example of a success story. We'll talk about how they're going about to make it even better. Matt Wise is an old friend of ours, of course. He's our soccer analyst. He knows a little bit about the beautiful game. Matthew, introduce your friend to your left there.
Oh, this is our statewide expert, Glenn Kalis, for DOT over in Olympia.
And Glenn, your job is to study the migration patterns of sheep and deer and calculate all of the statistics on where these collisions are happening and why they're happening, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I like to say my job is finding ways to reduce collisions with wildlife and also increasing habitat connectivity so animals can get to where they're going.
The genesis of this is we worked really early in the morning, and I noticed in April, May, and really into June, just an inordinate amount of calls to Rivercom of automobiles striking wildlife. And I talked to Matthew, and I said, "Is it up? Is it down? Is it just me?" And that kind of led to this conversation. I guess the first thing I should ask both of you, has there been more lately, or is it just the fact that I'm awake at 4:30 when these things have a tendency to happen?
Well, I can speak to statewide. We've actually had a decrease in collisions, or at least reported wildlife carcass removals in the year 2022. We're down to just under 4,000 reported deer collisions in that year, where in previous years we were closer to 5,000. But locally, I can't say for sure if it's up or down, but this is a hot spot for collisions in general. And so it doesn't surprise me that you hear a lot about them.
Yeah, if you look at the map that we're going to show you on the screen, that dark blue area is where most of they find the most amount of carcasses. Right, not far from where we're standing here at Swakane Canyon, just up 97A, across the way in the Baker Flats area, and between Wenatchee and Kashmir and Peshastin. A lot of those going on, Matt. A lot of carcasses.
Yeah, and there's some things that lead to that. I mean, good migration routes. You've got readily available sources of water, good residential plants, farms right up against the highway. A lot of things like that play into that. A lot of traffic. And like you're saying, seasonally, we get a lot of hits around here seasonally, and some of that is migration movement. Deer's coming out of winter range into summer, spring range. You might get some patterns in traffic as well. Higher traffic around Labor Day and Memorial Day, and which can result in collisions as well. The people are in the last few miles of their trip right here, and they're thinking about jumping in the lake and not about what might jumping out onto the road.
You can't eliminate it entirely, but you can be proactive and try and figure something out. The bighorn sheep was a significant problem 10, 12 years ago, coming down from the canyons and just basically standing on the side of the highway in large groups. This is a success story right here, Matt. Talk about this.
Yeah, I think it was like around 2009. We put this fence up and several jump out structures and cattle crossings to help reduce those the number of animals on the road. It helped quite a bit. We still get a lot of animals on the road at the ends of the fence. The majority of those collisions, I believe, are at the ends within a mile or so. And we try, along with Lauren and others at DOT, we try to get out some electric reader boards, and that's the cheapest and very effective way to get the message out to motorists to slow down, but not pull over, not take pictures, and they're putting themselves at harm at that point and creating a bigger risk for everybody. So if you see them on the road, keep on moving. If they jump out in front of your car, try not to swerve, just try and slow down. If you have to take a hit, take a hit. And then if you have to pull over, do so at a safe place, please. You don't have to report the collision right there on the road where you're at. You can get home and do the such.
Do people get a little blasé there because everywhere you go you see deer zone next 4 miles, and people go, another one of those yellow signs with the deer on it, what do I care? People kind of not paying attention to those much anymore?
Yeah, they do. And I gotta say, I'm one of them. You see a sign a million times in the same place, you just forget to read it. So that's why when we put our reader boards out, I think this last spring we put one up at Blue Pass as well. We try and keep them there for a limited amount of time just so people don't get blind to them.
Great success story is this fence. Another one is up north near the Tenasket area. Talk about that. This is a perfect example of teaming up with private conservation groups and really cutting down on a significant amount of wildlife and car collisions. Talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So US 97, roughly between the towns of Riverside and Tenasket, is the worst wildlife vehicle collision area in the state, and that's based on carcass removal data collected by WashDOT and the Department of Fish and Wildlife Salvage Program. And within approximately a 14-mile stretch of road, we're seeing hundreds of deer killed a year recorded, and we know that that's only a fraction of what's actually happening. Probably at least 3 times as many as the recorded carcass removals are actually happening as wildlife collisions in that area. And it's a slow progress, but we are making significant strides there. About 2019, 1 mile of fencing was installed at the only pre-existing bridge that could actually be functioning as a wildlife crossing. That's Janus Bridge over the Okanagan River. And that was part of a partnership between Conservation Northwest, WashDOT, the Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation, the Mule Deer Foundation, and several other groups to get that fencing in and limit the amount of wildlife vehicle collisions in that 1 mile stretch, and also guide the deer and other animals to that pre-existing structure. And since that fencing went in about 2019, it was late 2019, we've seen a 90% decrease in wildlife vehicle collisions within that 1 mile area, as well as thousands of safe wildlife crossings per year at that Janus Bridge structure. We see an average of 2,500 mule deer and white-tailed deer crossings, mostly mule deer, at that structure each year, and that's more than we've recorded at any other wildlife crossing in the state. So it's very successful. We know that animals are able to move from place to place, and we're also able to limit collisions by 90%, which is quite high, but also what we can expect to do elsewhere using the same methods.
In fact, here's a fascinating video to show exactly what he's talking about. This is the deer and the other wildlife using that underpass at Janus Bridge. Check this out. So that's a perfect example of private-public partnership working, and it works. What's next, Matt? We're making progress, but there's no way to eliminate this problem. Deer and bighorn sheep are going to get hit by automobiles on our area highways, not just north central Washington, but all over your area. Bighorn sheep collisions are way down, and the deer ones are down, but the deer seems to be still a prevalent problem because they're pretty smart. They're not brilliant, but they're pretty smart. The bighorn sheep collisions are way down since these fences were put in. What's the next step to help our four-legged friends, the deer?
Yeah, I mean, we can always strive to keep doing better, working on both ends of this fence here. The second phase of that Okanagan project that Glenn was just talking about, and Glenn will get into a little bit more, is underway. And I've been working along with Glenn for the last better part of a decade or more up there with the Safe Passage group, and to identify potential areas where we could put in crossings and more fencing and connect that all together, that 14-mile stretch. We'd love to have that completed, but you can't, there's just not enough money to get that done. And so the more partnerships and grant applications, everything like that we can do, the better. And Glenn has worked with Conservation Northwest and company that he just mentioned to put together a grant application, which I'll let him talk about right now.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, so the Wildlife Crossing pilot program is part of that infrastructure bill that passed probably over a year ago now, and it's actually the first time ever that the federal government is providing funding to build wildlife crossings on state highways. And so it's exciting. It's something that we've been waiting for in this road ecology and wildlife crossing community for a long time, and we've always known that that area between Riverside and Tonasket on US 97 was our top priority. And so we're working on what we're calling phase 2 right now, phase 1 being the 1 mile of fencing at Janus Bridge. Phase 2 will include about 4.28 miles of fencing south of the end of the Janus Bridge fencing, as well as 2 new wildlife crossing structures at strategic locations about a mile apart from each other, where there's protected land on both sides, either state managed land, tribally managed land, or voluntary conservation easements, so that animals can move unhindered through these wildlife corridors. Along with the fencing, we're going to get jump outs like we have here, cattle guards or wildlife guards, which are modified cattle guards. And so we're really hoping and expecting to see another 90% decrease in this 4-mile area. That's part of that greater 14-mile area, as well as provide connectivity for a lot of different species working in the area or living in the area. And this isn't going to be the final phase, but this is the next step, and it's going to have a significant impact. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to move along. Our proposals are due just in a week or so, and then we will know whether or not we're funded probably by the end of the year, I'm guessing.
But you have quantifiable proof that this works.
Yeah.
And you would think everybody would want to be on board that. I don't want to hit a deer, and the deer don't want to get hit.
That's right. And I think we have to compete with the rest of the United States to get these federal funds. I think that Washington State, because of the history, building wildlife crossings, monitoring them, all the successes we've had from them with the fencing as well, I think that we are a very competitive state and that we have a good chance, but we still have 49 other states that are going to be trying to get a piece of that money from the feds that, you know, we just have to see how it goes. These are all competitive-based grants, and there is a limited amount of money, and there's a lot of work that could be done. So,
and of course, the statistics that they're using are the carcasses that are found and counted, and then it all goes into the database, and then you have hard numbers. Yep. Matthew, if you're driving down the road, say 97A between say Antioch and Chelan, and you just clip a deer, the deer might be hurt a little bit, and your car is kind of okay, and you just keep right on going. You still want those folks to report it so they know, so you can add that to the database, or does it have to be a carcass on the road?
No, it's important to know, and even if that deer isn't killed, you know, somebody will go out and look for it. They can wander several feet or yards or maybe a mile away from our highway. Just keep tabs of it. It's really important to know. They can contact DOT here in North Central Region. They can contact me. They can contact Fish and Wildlife, and it all goes into our database. Even if you have a concern, I mean, we field, myself, Lauren, and others, we field concerns from the public several times a year, and we take note. It helps us with our job. You know, we're not the all-knowing as much as I'd like to think we are. Not the all-knowing entity. I rely heavily on public input and advice and stuff like that.
Glenn, I'll give you the last word as we start transitioning from summer to autumn. What do people need to be on the lookout? Because you keep track of these herds, you kind of know where they're at, be it bighorn sheep or deer. What do we need to be forewarned about as we transition from one season to another, where we need to be more vigilant, as it were?
Well, I would say sometime around October, we're going to be dealing with mating season for the deer, as well as migrations beginning back to lower elevations for the winter setting in. And so I think we're going to see increased potential for collisions between, you know, October and November. And really we see increased collisions with deer through most of the winter. They're pretty active. I like to think, you know, one thing that drivers can do to be a little safer is consider the side of the road like an extra lane on either end, and just monitor it as you're going. You know, when you're changing lanes, act like it's another lane with vehicles that could potentially be in it, and just keep a lookout, because if you can see animals on the side of the road before they're making a dash across the road, you have a lot more reaction time, and even just a couple seconds can make a difference. So,
and if there's one deer, there's probably more than one, right?
Correct. If there's one deer, there's more than one. And if you're ever driving through the mountains and the Cascades and you ever see an elk, that goes double. There's almost always more than one, and it's a lot worse to hit an elk for sure. So
it's always good to see you, Matthew.
Yeah, you too.
You might want to lose a few pounds.
So no,
just talking about that. Glenn, thanks for making the trip all the way from Olympia for this conversation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. And I like to say Southeast Thurston County.
Okay, there you go. Apparently some sort of problem with our state's capital.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Badger Mountain Brewery is your cure for boredom. Jam Night Mondays. Trivia Wednesdays. Live Music Fridays. And Sunday Brunch. There's always something brewing at Badger Mountain, so come join the party.
The Wenatchee Valley, Here, most of us really enjoy the great outdoors, and most of us try to make the most of our natural resources. Here at Apple Valley Honda, we know that for generations we have harnessed nature to sustainably power the West, and we are proud to be part of that tradition as an environmentally green dealership award winner. Being a green dealership means Apple Valley Honda has reduced our overall environmental impact. We are so proud to live in this wonderful community.
Another beautiful morning here in the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington. Outside of our studios, it is 66 degrees. Inside our studio, it's a very comfortable 71. The warm spot right now is Ephrata at 72. Omak, you're checking in at 71 degrees. A little breezy up in Omak, by the way. Moses Lake, 64. Manson, 55? Wow, okay. Well, it's close to the water. I can see that. A little windy today, a little breezy. There's a couple of little troughs. There's a low pressure system just off the Pacific coast, and it's kind of spinning around a little bit counterclockwise. It's going to spill a little bit of wind through the Cascade Gap, so I wanted to let you know about that. It's also one of the reasons that we see the high clouds out there that we didn't have yesterday, but it's still going to be quite comfortable temperature-wise in the afternoon hours until we get to the early part of next week. Then we're going to cook right back up again as July bids us adieu and August comes our way. From the National Weather Service, here's one more look at your forecast. 88 today. For the record, we hit 83 yesterday. We've had 3 days in a row now with our afternoon high temperature below normal. It will be below normal again today, but not by much. Our normal high temperature is 90. 62 for the overnight low. A little breezy tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a little windier perhaps than today, but again, not real bad. About 90 for the afternoon high. 92 on Saturday. By Sunday, we're going to start warming up, and by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're right back to just plain hot weather. Have a great Thursday. Get your weekend going with us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Till then, bye-bye.
First stop on our itinerary, Dubai.
Today I'm in Dubai.
A super modern metropolis in the United Arab Emirates that defies reality. That's me, Elizabeth, exploring an amazing new destination with my friend Garrett Clayton. We'll check out what's new.
Who needs a taxi when he can take a longboat?
Then shop in historic souks.
In Arabic, a souk or bazaar is a market.
Then, in one of the hottest places on the planet, we'll discover a cool indoor ski resort.
It's my first time skiing right now.
What? And so much more.
The Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world.
Well, that was the modern. Now we move on to the ancient. The second location on my itinerary is the holy city of Jerusalem with my friend Jennifer Veal.
Right now we are standing in front of the